All right, team, how you doing tonight? Good to see everybody on here. Lindsay, I see you on here. Hey, girl. Thanks for being on tonight. So I'm just going to go over just a few announcements, and then I will bring Lindsey Catarino on to talk to you all. So we have, oh my gosh, what a busy day, you guys. Oh, I should start my video. Sorry. I know that, it was crazy today when we were all trying to log in to sign up for the Success Club trip. That was chaos. I get it. So don't worry, you guys. Get on the wait list. If you haven't done it already, get on it as soon as possible. People do come off the wait list. There's going to be people who decide that they don't want to pay the quarterly fees, or they haven't been hitting their Success Club goals, whatever it is. There people will end up canceling. So you have a chance of getting on, but you need to get on the wait list sooner than later. And just remember, I know it's frustrating, but, like I said in the video earlier, I posted on our team page that there's other things to be focusing on. We've got to just, like John Maxwell says, he says, give yourself 24 hours to be mad and then let it go. We got work to do, move on. There's bigger fish to fry. We all have huge goals and visions for where we want to go as a team and as coaches. And you signed up to do this not just for the trips, right? I mean, it's bigger than that. It's about changing lives. It's about changing your own life, your own fitness journey, and your family's financial well-being as well. So don't let it get you down. Move on. Have a glass of wine. Nicole's having a glass of wine tonight. It'll be okay. And we have other things to look forward to as a team. Okay, we have our Dream Big Leadership Retreat, our first one ever at the end of April, that I know many of you are working really hard to earn. Okay, and that's for our diamond coaches on our team to attend. It will be in Destin, Florida, on the beach. It's going to be amazing. And I'm working on getting some guest speakers there. I'm not going to say who yet because I'm still working on it. But it's going to be exciting. I have some fun surprises planned for you all. Also, Summit. While we're talking about registering for things, we need to bring that up because we haven't talked about it on our team page in a little while. But don't forget, especially if you're a newer coach, go ahead and sign up for Summit. You'll be put on the wait list, but people are going to be coming off that wait list. They predict that everybody who's on the wait list will get to be picked up off of it. And I also contacted somebody else today about some condos. I have a condo booked, but it's not enough, obviously, for everybody. So if you're still looking for a room, we will find a place for you. Don't worry, slumber party style. Hey, ask Suzanne, Karina, Christine, and Julie. We stayed in Orlando this weekend, total slumber party style. I'm not kidding you. I had 3 of us in a king-size bed one night, 4, so it was crazy. But we made it through it, so we'll shove you in there somewhere. Speaking of Danny Johnson, we are planning another trip in San Antonio, Texas. It's at the end of February. I believe it's weekend. Chrissy, you probably know. February 28th, I think is what it is, 27th, whatever that last weekend is in February. Saturday and Sunday is it's a 2-day event or 3-day event. So the main ticket is for 2 days, Saturday, Sunday, and if you want to do the entrepreneurship workshop on Monday, which is awesome, you can choose to pay a little bit more and stay through that Monday. We will be putting a house together with Summer and some other coaches again, so don't worry. We really work hard to find a great place for everybody to stay. We provide the food, and it keeps the cost down so you're not having to go spend money on a hotel room. We had an amazing time this past weekend in Orlando, you guys, and it's getting together as a team that builds that tribe and really shows you how amazing this community is. And Danny Johnson, Chrissy's saying right now, it's the best thing she's done for herself, you guys. The things that you take away that helps you grow as a leader, as a a mom or a spouse or dad, whatever, in your home is incredible. Helps you with balance in life, and it helps you realize areas that you need to work on, even if it hurts a little bit. But there's always, I mean, every time I've gone home thinking about things and, doing things around my house, I realize, oh my gosh, okay, that's something I need to work on that we talked about. There's just always great takeaways. So, yes, it costs some money to go, but compared to some of the other workshops that are out there, you guys, Danny Johnson's cheap. Okay. It's nothing. So get yourself there. I highly recommend it. I mean, Summer showed a graph from the time she wasn't going to Danny Johnson and how her income was kind of just steady and she couldn't figure out how to get it to that next level. And then as soon as she started going to Danny and she started taking her coaches with her to Danny Johnson, I mean, it just skyrocketed. And it was very evident, wasn't it, you guys who saw that graph? It was like, woo, and then it just went up. So, and why is that? Because you are growing yourself, right? We all have a lid on our own level of leadership, and that lid is you. And the only way to raise that is to continue working on yourself. And then when you can bring people from your team to come in and start working on themselves, I mean, it just creates a ripple effect. And you're not just changing, anything to do with just business. It's just helping marriages as well. And how much does it cost? Melissa's answering. Thank you. $297 for the 2 days, something like that. But don't sign up on her website because we will go through our contact as a group through Danny Johnson. So you'll sign up on that link I posted on the team page with your phone number, and I believe Mariana will be the one who will be calling you, and you'll buy your ticket on the phone with her. All right, so I wanted to bring on Lindsey Catarino. I'm going to unmute you here and introduce you. So, Lindsey, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Awesome. So, Lindsey, how long have you been a coach again?
4 years, December 1st.
Awesome. I mean, that's amazing. And Lindsey, I'll let her tell her story, but she is a 3-time elite coach. She is a member of the Millionaires Club, which is absolutely amazing. 8-star diamond. She has 14 lifetime diamonds in her organization. She's been in the top 20. She's a Success Club legend. I mean, just absolutely incredible what she's been able to do in 4 years. It's amazing and blows my mind. So I'm excited to have her come on and share her story and how she used to work in the corporate world and how she was able to come home and do Beachbody full time. So take it away, girl.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be on the call with all of you. After all of those accolades, you're probably thinking that I'm someone exceptional. The truth is I'm just like all of you. I've just been working really hard and I've had a lot of discipline over the last 4 years. Like Kristen said, I was able to hit the Millionaires Club 3 days before my 4-year anniversary. And I had someone ask me, does that mean that you've averaged $250,000 a year in earnings? And I thought to myself, wow, if only it worked like that. But the truth is that the compound interest of your vital behaviors can really start to pay off. But I'm going to start with my story because I think that it's important to remember who I was when I got started. I was someone who's never been into fitness. Probably the last 2 years, and I've been a coach for 4, is the only time in my life that I would have called myself someone that was even remotely into fitness. I was your typical skinny fat person. So I have memories even back from middle school and high school of being uncomfortable because my shirts were tight or I had to go somewhere with a bathing suit on. I was like dead last in the mile. And so the idea of being a fit coach was probably one of the craziest ideas ever. But I was getting married 4.5 years ago, and I wanted to look the best I could for my wedding. And one thing I've learned is that brides are crazy, and that's the only time that you're going to catch them where they're going to try something out of their comfort zone. And so my husband-to-be came home with a copy of P90X. He had picked it up off Craigslist, and then he deployed to Iraq. And I had exactly 92 days until he came home. And I decided to do something that I had never really done before. And looking back, I can't believe that I chose P90X of all things to start. My first workout was after work, after a long day. I did my core synergistics, which is a short 57 minutes. But I could only get through the first 30 and then I threw up. So when I tell you I wasn't fit, I'm really not kidding. Like, I was going to win 0 awards for being a fit chick. But I kept going because I knew the wedding was coming, and it was something that I really had on my heart, that I wanted to not feel the way I'd felt my whole life about my body. So my college roommates started to see my P90X posts. I started talking about it because, to me, if I talked about it on Facebook, then I had to work out. I've never liked to lie to people. So if I say I'm doing core synergistics, I actually have to go do it. So I learned Facebook accountability long before I was coach. And so Rebecca Bain was my college roommate. We have a lot of really scary stories about each other that we've chose not to share in Beachbody. And she reached out and said, "Hey, I noticed you're doing P90X. Are you working with a coach?" And I said, "I don't even know what you're talking about." And so she invited me into a challenge group. Summer was in there, and a number of other coaches from their team. And they were kind of just putting all their challengers together. And this was my first experience with having some level of accountability. And I really liked it. I still know the people that were in my challenge group. A lot of them are coaches today, and they'll reach out and go, "How'd you make $1 million and I haven't made 1,000?" But it's like, I feel like there's this kinship with them. I always answer their emails, and I'm like, I don't know why this thing took off. But I think it's important for our customers to have a good product experience. And that was something that Team Courage really did for me, was they gave me a great foundation in a challenge group. I felt like I was pretty fit when I ended. Today, I would not want that body back. But for me, that was like, I lost about 10 pounds, 12 inches. I felt pretty good when I finished P90X. So people started asking me what I was doing. And Rebecca had probably the smartest thing she ever said to me was, "Well, you can give these referrals to me and put money in my pocket, or you can help them and you can put money in yours." At the time, I was a director of finance. I was already making 6 figures. I was going into busy season. Budget season every year was like that time of year that you didn't have hobbies or friends. And that was the time of year that was about to come upon me. But something about putting money in someone else's pocket stung. And I'm like, no. So I signed up. I didn't even tell her. I just filled out the paperwork, and because I was military at the time, so it was paperwork, and made her an Emerald coach. At that point, she had been pretty unsuccessful at coaching. When I talked to her initially, she had made $100 in the last 6 months. And, this to show you that you never know who that heavy hitter is going to be for you. And I was kind of that first person for her. And you sort of like, you think you need to have this big story to like sign your big coach. And her story was, I made $100, and I thought to myself, shit, I could use $100. It was, to me, I didn't know any of the big stories. All I knew was my challenge group and that people were asking. And so I got involved. Well, life kind of turned itself upside down. I'm not sure I'd be here today if I didn't have a lot of strife over the next few weeks. My husband at the time, I am divorced right now, so I tell a story, but I try to preface that. I was married. My husband got out of the military, and he started contracting overseas. And so he was all signed up, ready to fly overseas and make $575 a day. And we thought all of our problems were going to be solved. And what basically happened was his job didn't start for 13 additional months, and he became totally unemployed. And he was a significant reason that we could pay our bills. He was a special forces sniper. Though I had a good job, I had just come out of a top MBA program, and I was carrying around $85,000 in debt. So all of a sudden, we had more month than we had money. And I had a very sad, depressed sniper at home that didn't want to get a job that like traditional employment. He wanted to do something kind of heroic. And so I had to come up with money fast. So I remember that feeling because I'm very introverted. And when you think of an accountant, I am actually like exactly like the personality style you expect. I'm terrified of people. I love spreadsheets more than I like talking. I like to go into my cave. Like I'm very like, if I have to go out and talk to people, then I need like twice as much time alone to try to balance that out. And so I was not like who you would dream to be a network marketer. Like I might have had 100 people on my Facebook page. I never used my Facebook page. I had no other forms of social media. All of my education had been in mathematics. Like I was not like a hero story. Like I was someone that had a lot of things they had to overcome, in addition to busy season and a husband that was very upset that he wasn't working. So I would come home and he hadn't had anyone to talk to all day. But I knew that there was more month than money. If you've ever had to borrow money to buy groceries, I've been there. And I needed to make it happen fast. And so I just reached out to 10, 12 friends and said, hey, all of you know, I've been doing this P90X thing the last 90, 100 days. I've loved it. I've lost 10 pounds, 10 inches. I have a lot more to go because I did. If you'd like to do this with me, I'm going to throw together an accountability group, and, I'd really love your support. A lot of the girls said yes. A couple of them said no. But I was able to make $500 my first month, and that just like opened my mind. All of a sudden, it was like this thing could be the answer to my problems right now. So I got really organized. So if you work, or maybe you have a child at home and you don't, like, you have specific hours you can work your Beachbody business. The key is you've got to get organized. And that was a strength because I'm an accountant. I wrote down, at the time we didn't have a business activity tracker. I made one, and I thought about what are the things I have to do every week? What are the things I have to do every day? And what are the things I have to do every month? And I would check them off. So I would print it out and I would check it off. And that little piece of paper went everywhere with me. Like if I got caught in traffic, I might listen to the national coach call. If I got caught in the grocery store line, I was sending out follow-ups on my phone. I absolutely let no time go idle, especially things like commuting, because that time I could be listening to team calls, national coach call, or later on I started doing some training. It wasn't always easy, but it's easier than it sounds. Like I devoted 10 hours a week to this business. I broke it down into 15-minute increments. I would log on 15 minutes before work and check my email, check my challenge groups, maybe send some invitations. I would spend half hour at lunch at work working on my Beachbody business and the other half hour brown bagging it. Did I miss out on some social occasions going to lunch with coworkers? Absolutely. Did I love bringing my lunch? No. Did I want to work on my lunch hour? Nope. But I did, because it was idle time that I could use. 15 minutes at night, and then I would do my workout. And then on Saturday morning, I would get up before my husband, 6 a.m., and I'd work about 4 to 5 hours. And that was really when I planned my social media, because, you really have to, you can't plan social media in 15 minutes, or at least I can't. And I'd be filling up Hootsuite for my like page at the time. I did start a like page. I don't run it anymore. And then filling my challenge group with posts for the week. So I would sort of sit down, and that would be when I was doing the bulk of the social media planning. And then my week would start over and I would be carrying around my list again. My office started to know that I was actually becoming a better director because all of the training that I was doing was making me like oddly a social accountant, which they had never heard of. And I started to learn a lot of things about people because of the trainings that we had been doing. And so we had a lot of negative dynamics in our office. If you work in an office that has a lot of politics. And when I started to like figure out how to be a successful coach and work with challengers and coaches and upline and downline, I became a better employee. And what was interesting is they started to like the fact that I was a Beachbody coach. And as long as I didn't work it at work, which I never did, then they were very supportive of needing to go off to Success Club trips or events or trainings. So since she mentioned Danny Johnson, I'll go ahead and throw my 1-minute Danny Johnson story. I did go to Danny Johnson actually before summer. It was 5 months into coaching. At that point, I felt like I was doing pretty well, but I didn't know what to do. You know, beyond the basics, the vital behaviors, I didn't really know how I could improve my business. And so Tommy Migrant used to make his team calls public, and I would listen to them. And he mentioned that he went to Danny Johnson and he was a top 10 coach at the time. And I was like, you know what? I've just got to give this thing a shot. I went totally by myself, which I'd never traveled by myself, and ended up meeting a girl on the super shuttle, like on the way back to the hotel that we became fast friends. She's also a Beachbody coach. But I don't go every month. Like I'm not one of those people that attend Danny on a consistent basis. But I did go for that particular First Steps. And then I went to First Steps again. And then I went to Dynasty. So I've been 3 times. After I went to First Steps, I had my biggest sales week I'd ever had. It was the first time I sold over $2,000 in product in 1 week. And what was really interesting to me was it wasn't that I was talking to more people. It's that I knew how to close people. And I've never had any sales training. So between the GEMS training where you kind of learn how to talk to people and then the sales training where you learn how to kind of close a sales deal, you know, it made a lot more sense to me. And I felt a lot less, I know some people are like, I don't want to be a salesperson. If you don't want to feel like a salesperson, learn how to be a good one, because that will make you a lot less icky. You know, it's all about being a professional. And I don't push anybody in a product because I don't honestly care what the end answer is. But if I haven't done my job of asking the right questions and making sure that they're not just afraid to say yes, or they don't have enough knowledge to, you know, to make a good decision for themselves, then I'm not doing my job. So I just want to make sure they really understand the benefits, that they really see how working with us is better than any other option in the price range. And then if they don't want to do it, then I'm just going to keep following up with them. But it really helped me to work with less people and close more deals. And that's what we do. We close deals, really. You know, either it's a coach or a challenge pack, but that's what we do. So 2 months later, I get a text from Summer and she's like, you're number 19 in the company. And I'm like, I don't even know where you would look that up. Like I had never seen a leaderboard. Like I didn't know it was like a rolling thing. Like I was just in my own world. And I think that's an important thing that you have to do is ignore everyone else. Like, I mean, I've done some awesome stuff, but I've failed at a lot of stuff. Like, you know, some people think I'm like, you know, a rocket ship, and other people think I'm dragging too much trash behind me. Like it's all perspective. You know, there's people that have beat me to the Millionaires Club. There are people, you know, that have beat me to elite, but I was number 19 in the company 8 months in. And it was because I was getting really organized. I was using the sales strategy that I learned at Danny Johnson and the GEMS, and I was doing the discs. You know, I'm sure Kristen talks about, you got to like listen to the stuff at home. You can't just come home and do nothing. And there I was, like, it was actually paying off and pretty fast. By the time I went to Dynasty, like people knew who I was. And that really was a crazy thing for me. Like I felt like we all feel like nobodies, right? Like no one knows who we are. And then all of a sudden I'm walking into Dynasty and it's like, I'm number, I think at that point, 15 in the company. And people are coming up to me and going, wow, my God, Lindsey Catarino. And I'm like, what just happened? Like all I've been doing is putting my head down and working. I did finish in the top 20 that year, and then I finished in the top 20 the year after. So I had a 22-month ride on the leaderboard before I finally decided it was enough. I had worked too hard, but in that time, 16 months into coaching, I was able to fire my boss. That conversation was one of the coolest conversations I've ever had. Basically, I had to walk into his office and say, I'm sorry, but it's costing me money to sit here. I make more money as a Beachbody coach than I make coming here to work as a director. And fortunately, I can't keep doing both. So I'm going to need to give you my notice. And my boss cried. Like at this point, he was like, we want to make you a vice president. And I'm like, and I'm 35. Like I had gone to MBA school. Like this was my dream. Like, was to be a vice president and, to work my way up to CFO. But it was still costing me money to hang out there. Like I bought per hour, I was making more money as a Beachbody coach than they could even offer me to be a vice president. And I knew that I had to bet on myself, that I had to give my Beachbody business more than 10 hours. And I couldn't as long as I worked there. So I said, I'm sorry. I can't. He offered me a consulting job. He said, can you work part-time? I said, no, I can't. I need to go. And so I was super scared, but it was that transition point for me. I was going to put all my skin in the game. I was betting on myself. At that point, I was making $2,000 a week, a little over $2,000 a week, and it was slightly over what I was making at my day job. Well, I have to say though, I did the same thing. I came home, I got organized, I started talking to a lot more people. I was number 9 on the leaderboard that summer. I did not make top 10, but I gave it quite a run. I was in the top 11 for 11 months. And then a girl by the name of Amy Silverman jumped over me, became 10, left me at 11. And I decided that I didn't want to be top 10 anymore because it was awful. But I learned a lot. I learned what it takes to get a lot of growth in your business. And it isn't hours, and it's not how many people you talk to, it's how well you talk to people. You can do a lot more with less if you're really good at it. And so for me, I think that my claim to fame has always been warm market. You're not going to find a like page with me that's any good. I do have a blog. You're welcome to visit lindseycatarino.com. And I do post on that frequently. I love Pinterest. And so I drive traffic from Pinterest to my blog. But I still, just like all of you, every Monday, I make a list of who I'm going to invite to my challenges. I warm up the conversation and I get those invitations out. It hasn't changed. And that momentum in my last year, I'm averaging between $12,000 and $14,000 a week pay. I'm completely debt free. I paid off that $85,000 in a year. I've never taken out a debt since. I maybe one day I might buy a house, but even that freaks me out after getting out of that kind of debt. But Beachbody has afforded me a life that even my professional degree would not have. And like I said, I was offered a vice president position. They even called back 3 months later to make sure I was serious. And I was standing on the beach in Maui when they called me. And I said, no, I don't want to be your vice president. I'm working from Maui right now. And I don't even know when I'm coming home because it doesn't really matter. So I didn't have a passport before I became a coach. Since becoming a coach, I've spent a month in France. I've traveled through Austria, Germany. I went to Bora Bora. I traveled through Bali. I've been all over the United States too. But I mean, I've gotten to do things that my other job would not have allowed me, not even allowed me. Even if I had saved the money, I couldn't go to Bali for 2 weeks and unplug. Like I didn't have that kind of job. And now I do. Like I can literally decide that I'm not going to be in Nashville. That's where I live. And get on a plane and go somewhere. In September, my mom had a heart attack, and I was literally able to pack a bag, go to the airport, and ask for the next flight. And to me, that kind of freedom is priceless. At my last job, I would not have been able to do something like that. Like it would have been, know that it's the beginning of the month, you have to do journal entries, or it's the end of the month, you need to run reports. And so I think sometimes I know me, I was so afraid to do this that I kept making excuses like, I already make 6 figures. I'm already fast tracking to this, to that. But I mean, the potential is actually endless with this. I mean, there's coaches that make more in a week than they used to make in a year. And it's how big you want it to be. Like, you don't need to have my story or Kristen's story. Like, maybe your dream big is 1,000 a week. But it's like, this is the one vehicle that I've found that I just think you can plug yourself in and you are as good as your potential and your training. You have to really want it. You've got to work on your mindset, and then you need to work on your skills. And I guess with that, I'll turn it back to Kristen and see if there's any questions. But, I hope that helps inspire you guys. Like I said, I'm an everyday person that just really decided to go for it. And I hope that, you might consider giving it 4 good years, because it's changed my life.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing your story. It's incredible. And what I was thinking as you were wrapping up was that I think so many times we put the objection in somebody else's mouth, thinking about inviting someone to your team, and we're like, oh, they already make good amount of money. Why would they ever want to coach? They have a great job. Or we think, oh, that person, there's no way they'd have time. But if you can't put that objection in their mouth. If you ask them, and like Lindsey, I mean, she found that vision. She didn't have that vision the moment she signed up, right? So like that was not her intention, was to be in the Millionaires Club when she first signed up. It's just that as she got going, she realized, oh my gosh, this has potential, and she fell in love with it and took off. So you just never know, like she said, who your next rock star coach will be. So some questions. Why no like page, says Aaron.
I'll be transparent. I just posted this in Summer's leaders group. I've never met weirder people in my life. I'm just be transparent. I paid for the ads. I got to 11,000 people in a year. So 1 year, 11,000 people. And then I decided I hated everything about it. It was taking me like 8 hours a week to like fill the thing up. And then all I would do is meet people that I didn't want to know. And so you have to, it's true. You have to find your way, but it doesn't have to be everybody else's way. Mm-hmm. I'm actually like doing a training with my team right now on all the different ways to find new people. And like one of my best coaches finds all her new people on Fitbit. And when she said that to me, I was like, it's a watch. I don't get it. Like, how do you talk to people on your watch? And like, 'cause I don't own one, but it's like, we all have this one or two good things we're really good at. Just do those. Like, stop trying to be everybody else. Like my push partner's all on Instagram, and like it's Patrick Reelman, if you follow him. And it's like Pat, all he wants to do is move people over from Instagram. Like he's got it down to an exact system. He does not mess with anything else. Like, and I think, when he's making 7, 8, 9,000 a week, like you can get to big, big numbers if you just get one tool that you meet new people really, really well. For me, it was referrals. It was warm market. 98% of my income comes from 2 people that I did not know prior to coaching, but they were introduced to me by people in my warm market. My national coach call was about it. If you want to dig back into the archives, I also have a video I can share with Kristen I just made for my team on how I ask for referrals. But that is pretty much, I do that. And I really like to hang out in Facebook groups. But that's to me just like like then we have common ground. Like, and I don't mean Facebook groups like network marketing Facebook groups. Like one of the groups I'm in is for like the Desire Map book. Another one is the Think and Grow Rich group for women. Like I try to find groups that really speak to me, that I'm going to find women that want creative careers and they want to expand their horizons. And it's a slow process. Like it's not, I don't go in 3 sentences in and go join my team. Like it might take 3 months, but those are my best coaches. I mean, they are hosses. Like they will just take a beat and get up and keep going. And I think it's because they, you know, if you hang out in a group like Think and Grow Rich for women, like you're serious about finding wealth in your life. And one of my other coaches found all her best diamonds in a cloth diapering group. Like totally different, but you know, it works for her. Like, you know, like it's like, it was a great networking place. Like so get creative with it. I mean, Kristen might really promote like pages and I don't want to tell you not to have one, but me, no, not doing it. No, and if I do it later, it's probably just because I get bored, I guess. I don't know, but I'm not going to meet anybody good on my like page. I'll share the video. Personal, do I ever feel like I get overwhelmed? Yeah, my like page made me very overwhelmed. That's why I stopped. Personal development. I really like mindset stuff right now. I feel like we all have this natural inclination to be afraid at a certain point. Like me right now, like I hit the Millionaires Club. That was my #1 goal last year. Like I just, every week I would add up how close I was to it. Like it became like very routine that I was focusing on it. Wherever you put your attention, that's where you're going to put your energy. But I hired a mentor, Todd Falcone. I don't know if any of you follow him, but he's a cool network marketing trainer if you want to follow him, Todd Falcone. And Todd said to me, all right, this is the year you're going to make 7 figures in a year. And I'm like, who the fuck are you talking to? You know, like, I mean, I don't come from people that make 7 figures a year. My dad bagged groceries. I'll type it in, when he met my mom. But I have to elevate my mind to believe that I'm someone that can do that, right? Like, I mean, that's like the first step, is that I have to believe it before I'm going to put any energy into the process of doing that. So I'm working on Bob Proctor a lot right now. He wrote The Art of Living. I have a coach through the Tony Robbins organization that's helping me a lot with the Tony Robbins principles, but you could go to one of his events. They're outstanding. You could read his books. But I also think you have to build up your skills. So, you know, like the sales skill, I really like Brian Tracy. He's got some great books. You know, the cool thing about sales is it hasn't changed at all in the last 30 years. So like you can go to the library and get a book written in 1970 and it's probably still good. Like Brian Tracy is an excellent example that, or, you know, the Go for No book is really good. Like, it's not like it needs to be this like super new book. GoPro is kind of good. I like the closing script. I think it's page 92 in the book, but I don't think you have to follow it exactly. But I think it's just important that you kind of start to learn the closing process. And again, Danny Johnson, if I didn't have Danny Johnson's closing stuff, I wouldn't be here today. Do I do it verbatim? No, but I listened to the tapes, and I had the closing, the books, the script books. And that was kind of when I started to have aha moments about, so those are good too. But I teach my team, you really have to do 2 kinds of professional development, not one. You have to work on your mind and you have to work on your skills, and they're not the same. So if you're just reading a bunch of books about Instagram, you're probably going to fail. And if you're just reading a bunch of books that are going to pump positivity into your mind and you don't know how to do anything, you're probably going to fail. So, you know, balance that. Like, you know, you might be doing Chalene Johnson's Instagram Impact Academy, but then you also need to be doing Tony Robbins, you know, maybe some of his YouTube channel. So that's my, like, I think the number one thing that we do as coaches for our coaches, because I mean, most of our money comes from our team, is get them out of fear. Because this business is not rocket science. It's that, I mean, that unfortunately, it is so simple. I can't believe I get paid this to do what we do. But the hardest thing that I do on a daily basis is get my coaches out of fear. And we hit fear at so many points, you know, like good things happen, then bad things happen. And then we get a no from someone that really hurt our feelings, or we don't hit Success Club, or we don't get on the cruise. And all of a sudden we're like falling down the stairs, right? And somebody's got to come running down and pick us up. Well, if you don't know the mindset discussions, if you're not getting your coaches to the, you know, to the right information about, you know, overcoming fear through action, through activities, through having discipline, through knowing your why and having a dream board and, you know, putting their energy where it belongs, which is in moving forward and not licking their wounds. So, you know, work on that. And first it starts with you. Just like the airplane, you have to put the mask on you first. And then when you're strong, you can put the mask on other people. So if you feel like your team is filled with people that are fearful, I would take a guess that you got to get out the mirror and go, I'm probably making them afraid. And I find that when I'm now reading a book a week, which is tough. It's tough. I don't recommend it. But I'm reading a book a week because I know my team needs that from me. I need to be like a statue. You know, like I have to have my emotions so in check that I can take on all of their emotions. Because right when your team calls and they're like, man, I'm so stressed out, or I'm sad, or this is hard. Like if you feel that way too, like how the hell do you help them? Right? So it's like you've got to have all this extra like mindset and, you know, positivity, and so that you can take on their, you know, their stuff and like think clearly and direct them to the right resources so that you can get back to you, you know? So that's just kind of something I've learned, I think, pushing the Millionaires Club, was that I'm in the fear management business, and that, you know, it's as simple as the vital behaviors. We have to find new people, but you can do that any way you want. And then we have to invite them to join us to something, free group, have a sample, a sneak peek, a challenge group, you know, whatever you like to do with people. And then we've got to get them to fall in love with our products so they want to become a coach. And then we've got to get them out of fear so they become great coaches. And, you know, and then we kind of start the process over again. But I don't know. I hope that helps. Kind of a tangent.
Awesome. I think the only other question was, Aaron was saying, we have a lot of emeralds on our team. Any other
organized? Was that the?
Yeah.
Okay. I love asana.com, ASANA.com. And I put all my tasks into it. And I break it up into projects. So your emeralds are going to love this. So it's sort of like subcategories. So like I have a subcategory for like everything I'm doing, like calls and meetings. So this fell into calls and meetings. So that would be on my Asana. Calls with my team. It also helps me see like, who am I talking to and who do I need to be talking to, when it's all kind of like listed for me. Then I also have a social media project, and that's kind of where I'm planning all of my future social media posts. I do a lot of planning in advance because I don't have a training video, but if you go to the Asana one, it'll help. But I think that it's important to just think of the things that you work on. You know, inviting could be a project, and then you could put all the names of the people that you want to follow up with. But it's really important to have your tasks in one place so that, like, I didn't get something done today. I ended up having to go to the doctor. I can move it to tomorrow. Like, you know, it moves really, really quick. And you can, and it has an app, so you can like see it on the go, which is kind of cool. I also really like, and I'm just going to tell you my horror story. I used to write everything down on paper, like I told you. And then I lost my notebook of 9 months last year. And I was devastated. Like it had, not only did it have all of my contacts and my dream team and all my conversations, it also had all of my notes from all of my mentorship calls. And so I'm like, why did I do this to myself? You know, and I just left it in a coffee shop. I mean, it was just stupid, you know? And so now I'm making myself put it in Dropbox in files, you know, so I pull it out of Dropbox and I write. You could do Google Docs too if you want, but I think it's really important to capture names, where you met people, where you are in the process. And I do have an Excel spreadsheet I can share with Kristen. And just keep it going. I have a coach who's very successful. She's actually on a plane to Hawaii right now. She brought one bag and she's decided she's going to live there as long as she feels like it. She has a list. She's been coaching as long as me now, 4 years. That's like 8,000 names. She meets everybody on Twitter. Twitter's her thing. And if she didn't keep a really good list, I don't think she'd be here today. Like, it's the fact that she literally knows every person she's talked to, where she met them, when was the last follow-up, what did they talk about? Like, she's a machine. So like when she needs to go invite, she can literally sit down and invite 100 people at a time because her notes are that good. Like, it's just, I'm not that good. I wish I was. Mine's in a notebook in a trash can. But she can tell you everyone she's talked to in 4 years. And I think that if I had that, wow, you know, so if I could go back, I'm working on it now, but I would say keep your contact list very detailed, very clear, great system, and then just manage your tasks, because a lot of us, or maybe it's just me, it's like, did I invite anyone this week? If I don't make it a task that I have to check off, I'm going to forget. I'm too busy like reading a book or taking calls, or, you know, your coaches are texting you and you weren't expecting it, or, you know, it's like you have to feed your business first. Like, even at my level, like, I mean, I guess I could just go on autopilot and see what check I make. I mean, you know, it could be like Beachbody Lottery, but I have to work my business 80% of the time. And that's tough. I have 7,000 coaches on my team. And sometimes I have to get a little sassy and say, you could have posted this on the team page. Like, I do not email this to me. Like, you know, and keep directing them to the group or the FAQ, or, you know, and say, I'm happy to answer questions that are personal or that you need my like level of guidance, but I can't answer 7,000 people's questions about why the, you know, the Success Club trip went on a wait list in 3 minutes, you know? So, you know, start to act like your time is important, because it is. And, you know, be sweet, be kind, be loving, but, you know, be honest and say, you know, I only work, I personally work 20 hours a week now. Like, I don't care. I'm not working more than that. I quit my job for a reason. If you put me into that 21st hour, I'm going to be mad. Like, you know, it better be bad. Like, it better be like, you know, someone's not getting their cycle bonus of $2,000 unless I make a phone call. So, you know, being organized is also make a schedule. I'm on a schedule, 8 to 1, Monday through Friday, and honor it. Kick people out of your life. And I also do my team call. So I do have 1 to 2 nights a week that I have to come out of my 8 to 1. But organized people live by a schedule and don't deviate from it, because you'll grow to hate this job. And working 80 hours is not going to make anybody feel happy, you know. So I would make sure that you're organized enough that you're keeping time of what you're doing, and do the same things in the same pockets of time, so you don't get lost. Like, I only answer my team page, like all of my groups. I have like 12 groups are going right now, for 1 hour. And then when that clock goes to the next hour, I'm moving into inviting. Like, I am not going to sacrifice my business to answer more questions, you know? So I'm just going in, getting real focused, going, what questions have to be answered by me? And I'm getting out, you know? So be very organized with your time, as well as your actions. Because the best advice I ever got on this topic, actually, Milan Jensen decided to mentor me 2 years into my business. She's the top of our line. She's Tracy Morrow's coach. You might know Tracy. Like it goes Summer, Doug Fitzgerald, Tracy, Milan. Milan and I, she started to mentor me. And she said, Lindsey, if you work 40, 50, 60 hours a week, no one wants to be you. And you're not selling shit. Because if no one wants this job, if you don't make this job seem like the best job ever, then you're failing as a Beachbody coach. And at that point, I was just working around the clock, and I was just, like, she was right. Like, who wanted to be me? Like, I was just exhausted, and it wasn't fun because I was doing it too much. But she got me super scheduled in terms of like, I had to work certain hours and then I had to log off and I had to tell her what I was doing so that I was either going to lie to my mentor or I was going to go do something else. And my business doubled. And she's right, because then I'd have conversations with people and I was taking pictures by the pool and I was like going on walks and I was doing fun things instead of just working all day and putting up transformation photos. So be organized with your schedule too. It changed my whole life.
Yeah, that's great advice. Set a timer when you work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to. It has to beep.
Yeah.
Just because I get so focused. Like I'm the opposite of ADHD. Like I'm like tunnel vision. That I'll wake up 3 hours later and I'm still doing the same thing, Yeah. It's, and the worst part about this job is that you could do every task unlimited, right? Like you could meet unlimited people. If you say you just were finding new people, you could stay on the internet for the next 30 days and keep finding new people, we're never done. Like we have to make the decision to be done. And that's tough because it's like, oh, maybe I should just work one more minute. No, don't work one more minute. Find your 5 people or your 10 people or whatever. And I focus on 2 new a day, which is small. Like no one's ever going to call me a recruiting hoss or anything. But that has afforded me a business that made about $700,000 last year. I'm good with that. I don't need to meet 20 people. Like two did it, right? But I knew those 2 people really well. I started to really develop relationships with them. So whatever your number is, like 2 invites, 2 finds, 3 follow-ups, whatever numbers, just stick to them. Just stick to them and then get out, and same goes for calls. I could do calls all day long. I have 7,000 people, right? That's not how I run my business. I only do 5 calls a week because when I do more than 5, I feel very grumpy. And they go to the people that are making Success Club and that are moving ranks and are actually plugged into trainings. And if someone says to me, I want to call and they're not brand new, first 30 days, you can have 2 calls with me. I don't care what you're doing. After that, it's like, come on, like I'm not going to spend 30 minutes on the phone with someone that hasn't done anything, And so you've got to put a tool in front of them and say, hey, yeah, we'll have that call. But first, can you watch these 3 videos and run this script by 5 of your friends and see if they do any of it? And if they don't, well, great, get to take them off your call list. But protect your time and your energy. Give your energy to the people that are trying. So it doesn't necessarily mean your best people or your newest people, but look for levels of effort. And those, and I last year had to go multi-generational with that. Like if you're 8 levels down and you're like really busting your hump, I'm going to treat you like PS and figure it out. And then I completely max out the volume in my business center. Like my top center is over 200,000 a week now. I can, and even legs, and my personal leg is actually bigger than my team leg. Because I went down and found the builders. So now I'm actually having to do the same thing in my second business center. But that came from giving my energy to the people that deserved it and working more on myself than I did on my team. So don't spend all of your energy telling them what to do. Spend 20% of your time doing that and 80% of the time doing the things you wish they would do. Because somehow your action of doing them, it's like they know, right? Like all of a sudden they know you're working hard on yourself, and then they start duplicating that.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much, Lindsey. I'll let you go, and thank you for staying on later. But
yeah, no worries. Thanks, guys. And if you want to come find me on Facebook and join the party, but again, my like page, I don't recommend it. I'm not on it.
Yeah, and I would love to see your tracker that
send me a message and I'll send it to you in the morning.
Okay, thank you. Get some sleep.
All right.
Bye, everybody.